Hey, I have a question for you. Do you have a pet? I have a pet. She looks like this. Her name is Charlie. She's a boxer, and she is our family's pet. Do you ever take your pet for a walk? We have to take Charlie for a walk. We get out the leash, we put on her collar. My daughter, who's 5, loves to lead her, but Charlie doesn't always want to follow her. So then sometimes I end up having to take the leash as we go on our walk, and it's a lot of fun having a pet. Do you take care of your pet? Do you feed it? Do you water it? Or does maybe your mom? Or do maybe you guys all work together as a team? That's how we do it in our house. So today we're going to talk about a lot of different things, and I have a question that's going to kind of lead us into that. What do you think a shepherd takes care of? I'll give you a hint. It's an animal. Yeah, sheep. A shepherd takes care of sheep. And sheep need a lot of taking care of. And so today we're going to kind of talk about that. So think about it for just a second. What kind of skills do you think a shepherd needs? Okay, so a shepherd is probably going to need to have some leadership skills. They're going to be able to lead and guide sheep and give them directions on where to go. They're going to help take care of them. They're going to feed them. They're going to water them. They're going to shear the wool off of them. They're going to do all the things that a sheep needs to be taken care of, right? And so all of those skills are very important for a shepherd. Did you know that God is kind of like a shepherd? God is a shepherd for us. He leads us, He guides us, He takes care of us. And so today we're going to kind of talk about that. We've been talking about prophets, and remember, a prophet is somebody who God gives a message to, and then He delivers that message to the people. God kind of like downloads them with a word, and then they're able to give it out to the people. And so we've talked about Micah, and we've talked about Zephaniah, and today we're going to talk about a guy named Ezekiel. Can you say Ezekiel? Good. So Ezekiel is in the Old Testament, and he was kind of living in a tough time. All the people of Israel had been sent out of their home to a place called Babylon, and it was just not a good time for the Israelites. And so God gave Ezekiel a message, and I'm going to read it to you. It's in the Old Testament, Ezekiel 34. We're going to read verses 11 through 16. It says, God the Master says, from now on, I myself am the shepherd. I'm going looking after them. As shepherds go after their flocks when they get scattered, I'm going after my sheep. I'll rescue them from all the places they've been scattered to in the storms. I'll bring them back from foreign peoples, gather them from foreign countries, and bring them back to their home country. I'll feed them on the mountains of Israel, along the streams, along their own people. I'll lead them to lush pastures so they can roam the mountains of Israel. They'll graze at leisure, feed in rich pastures on the mountains of Israel. I myself will be the shepherd of my sheep. I myself will make sure they get plenty of rest. I'll go after the lost. I'll collect the strays. I'll doctor the injured. I'll build up the weak ones and oversee the strong ones so that they're not exploited. So what does this say? Basically, God says, hey, I am your shepherd. You are my sheep. Come follow me and I will take care of you. And so God is kind of like a shepherd for us. He leads us and He guides us. The thing about it is that we have to make the choice to follow Him. Whoa.
Oh, hey, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, but you know how you're talking about Ezekiel?
Yes.
And about how like we're like sheep? Did you see that? Did you see it was on TV, it was on the internet? Did you see what it looked like?
No,
there was like this giant sheep. It was like huge, and it was like it was huge.
Oh my gosh.
So listen to this. Look, okay, now watch this. This sheep, like you know, you're talking about how we're like sheep, and we're supposed to follow the shepherd and do that. Well, this sheep, it like went away for like 5 or 6 years.
What is?
And now look at it. You see that?
That is crazy.
Okay, well, that guy, he could barely move, couldn't protect himself, couldn't do anything, and he was all there because he chose not to follow the shepherd.
Oh man.
And now look at him. They cleaned him up.
Oh my gosh, look at that sheep.
So I'm just telling you that as you were talking about that, I didn't want to interrupt that. I'm sorry. I'll go away. But is that not cool? About how that sheep, it chose to go away, but they found it, and now look at it. Okay, yeah. I'll go. I gotta go.
Oh my
All right, I'll see you later. Bye.
Wow, Pastor Gabe was telling us a crazy story. But it's so cool. That sheep, he was gone, and he did his own thing. He made his own choice. And they found him, and they brought him back, and they took care of him, they cleaned him up, and he was able to be cared for. That's exactly what God does for us. Sometimes we make a choice to do our own thing, but that doesn't mean that we have to stay there. God can find us, or we can find our way back. And what we can do is from that point forward, we can choose to stay under his care, under his umbrella, following his lead and following his guide. All right, so it's a choice to follow God. God will lead us, he will guide us, he will take care of us, but we have to make the choice to follow him. It's kind of like having an umbrella. We can have an umbrella, we can put the umbrella up, and we can use the umbrella, and when it's raining, we'll stay dry. But the thing about an umbrella is that I can have it all day long, but if I don't choose to use it, it's not doing anything for me. Where if I'll choose to get under the umbrella, I'm gonna stay dry. And that's kind of the same way with God. We can choose to be under his umbrella, under his leading, under his guiding. We can choose to be cared by him, or we can choose to do something different. But it's all about our choice. So there's another set of scriptures in Psalms, Psalm 95, and verses 1 through 7. We're not going to read the whole thing, but basically the first part of that just talks about how good God is and how big God is and how great God is. And then verse 7, it says, "We are the people he watches over, the flock under his care." So God is our shepherd. We are his sheep. We can choose to be under his care. We can choose to be under his umbrella. We can choose to follow his directions, his map before us, and we have to make those choices. As a shepherd, he's there. He's there to protect us. He's there to care for us. He's there to listen to us. He's there to speak to us. But as sheep, we have to make the choice to follow. We have to make the choice to listen. We have to make the choice to follow those instructions and to hear what he has to say. God wants to speak to us. He wants to care for us. He wants to do all of those awesome, great things, but we have to make the choice to follow. So my question for you today is, are you going to choose to listen to God? Are you going to choose to follow his guide? Are you going to choose to follow his lead? Or are you going to choose to maybe do the silly things that your friends are doing? Or maybe choose to be disobedient or choose to do whatever? Because the choice is really yours. So today, what choice are you going to make? I hope that you choose to follow God. Okay, so another thing, just to kind of give you an idea about making choices, is kind of like listening to Siri on your phone or whatever GPS app you guys use in your family. You can type in directions and you can say, "Hey Siri, I want to go to Culver's," and Siri's gonna pull up the directions. You're gonna hit, tell me where to go, and Siri's gonna start telling you where to go. She's gonna say, turn right or turn left or whatever. And you can hear those directions all you want, but if you don't choose to turn right or choose to turn left, it's not gonna help you. These are some old school maps. I don't even know if some of you would really know what they are. You would open them up and they've got all kinds of roads and all kinds of stuff, and you would have to chart your course. But again, if you don't choose to follow it, it's not going to help you. And that's the same way with God. God will give us directions. He will speak to us. He'll tell us where to go. He'll tell us what to do. He'll lead us. He will guide us. But if we don't choose to follow those instructions or directions, it's not going to help us.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about?
All right, guys, let's chat. I got some questions for you, okay? Are you ready? Here we go. How can we choose to follow the shepherd, our leader, and our director? All right, number 2. How can we realize when maybe we haven't followed or listened to God and His direction? Okay, last question. What can we do if maybe we haven't chosen to follow God or to listen to His leading and guiding? How can we fix that? Awesome job today, guys. Thanks for chatting with me. I'm so glad that I got to be here with you. I hope that this week you can choose to follow God and remember that He is your shepherd and you are His sheep.